That's why the next piece is your input audit. Number 3, audit your triggers. Think of social media like free commercials you signed up to watch all day long. Every ad, every perfect home tour is a tiny sermon about what enough looks like. Advertising and curated feeds are designed to trigger desires and comparison, shaping what your brain considers normal and necessary. The Bible says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Today, much of what enters in your heart comes through our phone. So use the scroll audit. Mute accounts that always make you feel behind or impulsive. Move shopping apps out of your home screen. Monitor your mood and ask yourself, do I want to spend more after watching this? If you don't discipline your feed will discipline you. Now, once you've calmed your body and cleaned your inputs, you're ready for the slowest but most powerful force in your financial life, compounding. Number 4, start early and stay consistent. Think about farmers in the Bible times. They didn't plant once and expected a lifetime of harvest. They sowed in season, watered, waited, and trusted God with the growth. Compounding is that same sowing and reaping principle written in math. Compounding is the principle that your returns can earn returns over time. Starting earlier and staying consistent allows small amounts to grow to large ones purely due to time and growth rate. Use the 3 S's of compounding. Start, begin with what you can, even if it feels small. Stay, keep going when it's boring, not just when it's exciting. And steward, adjust and learn as you grow. Compounding doesn't reward perfection, it rewards persistence. Part 4, the heart shift from scarcity to abundance. Underneath brain science and systems sits the heart posture. Scarcity versus abundance. Scarcity says, there's never enough. I'm always behind. If they have it, there's less for me. If I lose this, I'm done. Scarcity is fear dressed up as realism. It narrows attention, increases stress, and pushes the brain towards short-term, self-protective decisions. Abundance in God says, my God will supply all my needs. There is more where it came from. I can grow, learn, and multiply with God. If God trusts me with more, it's for impact, not just my comfort. Trust and positive expectation can help reduce stress responses and open up cognitive resources for long-term planning and creativity. The Bible calls us to live from trust in God's provision, not fear of luck. You cannot build healthy wealth from a place of chronic fear. You need a renewed mind, a regulated nervous system, a heart anchored in God's character, not in market conditions. Wealth without God can increase anxiety. Wealth with God clarifies your assignment. One tiny rule to change tomorrow. Researchers who studied long-term meditators found that over years of practice, their brain waves could become synchronized with calm, stable patterns during meditation. Their nervous system had been trained into a new rhythm. In Olympics, watching someone break the world record and get a medal looks effortlessly, but in reality, it's thousands of repetitions that their brain and body did to turn it into a pattern. The same is true for wealth with God. One honest money planning meeting, one auto transfer, one no to impulse spending, one yes to repeated giving becomes who you are. Motivation doesn't build a wealthy, peaceful life. Repetition with God does. So today, don't try to fix your entire financial life. With God, choose one tiny rule that changes your tomorrow. For example, I give and invest before I spend. If it's Sunday night, then I review my money with God, not with anxiety. If I feel the urge to stress, spend, then I pause, breathe, and review my vision. Build God-centered systems. Then let those systems over time build the new you.